families. What's up, everyone? My name is Connor Bracey, and I'm the class vice president. It is my absolute pleasure in introducing our keynote faculty speaker, Todd Stahl. Now, dandy is a term used to describe something excellent. I used it this morning at rehearsal, and I wasn't quite sure of its definition, but now since I know it, I can say with absolute certainty that Todd is both distinguished and quite dandy, and he is probably my favorite art teacher here at Thomas. I've had the pleasure of having him for Radio Club, and the countless memories I've had make me feel so honored to introduce this spectacular man. So please join me in giving the absolute of warmest welcomes to one Mr. Todd Stahl.
Good evening, friends. So we have now surpassed a full period of school. Does anyone need a stretch? Okay. I'm incredibly honored to be sharing this evening with all of you tonight. We wouldn't be here without the guidance and caring of all of our families and counselors and administrators. Many of them are in attendance today. So let's give them a big, loud thank you. Nailed it. Oh. And I need to give a big thank you to my people. My wife, who's my constant inspiration and my editor, and my kids, my other two favorite people, who gave me some of the fodder for today's speech. No matter what anyone may say, today is a special day. You may be the first in your family to graduate high school. You may have worked harder than you thought possible to figure out what Mr. Byer was talking about in AP Bio. Or maybe you are just looking forward to moving on and moving out. But no matter how you've lived the last 18 years, you've made it to this stadium, about to cross that stage, and that is a big deal. I remember my own graduation very vividly. It wasn't very long ago, 1997. Okay, maybe that was a long time ago. Mr. Neenan was there.
I was there.
He didn't graduate with me, though. He was a teacher. Clarification is important. But in that dark room at the Rochester Convention Center, before we crossed the stage, one of my favorite English teachers, who was my senior year Brit Lit teacher, Bob Shaw, spoke to us from the heart. He repeated one phrase throughout the speech: carpe diem, seize the day. To be honest, that's all I remember about his speech. I can't remember anything else he said, which I guess takes some pressure off me right now. And this fact made me realize that the stories I tell you in the next 5 to 7 minutes don't really matter. All I need to do is come up with one meaningful phrase to tie it all together. So I looked to quotes. Those of you that know me know I love a good quote, but that didn't feel authentic. I wanted to come up with my own wisdom for you on this most special Friday. So here's what I came up with. Are you ready? I need this to stick with you. You are probably going to fail, but you have to trust the process. Growing up, I was kept pretty safe. I lived in what I would describe as TV show comfort in Fairport. I had to have written directions to go into the city of Rochester, although I didn't go by myself as much as I wish I would have now. We didn't have Google Maps, by the way. And I always had to have good grades. I was scared of failing. I didn't think I was allowed to fail. I always did well in school, but I never took any AP classes. I never really pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I chose not to take enriched social studies in 9th grade because we had to type all our homework. Imagine. I never even considered that failure would actually be good for me. So remember my words of advice so you can be better than me. You're probably going to fail, but you have to trust the process. Some of you out there probably have lived your 18 years in a style that's really similar to mine. In a way, you're so lucky. The world probably feels like it's laid out in front of you. You have a plan. That plan will proceed in order. But many of you have not lived like this. You pushed yourself out of your comfort zone. You took some safe risks, and maybe you failed. Maybe you failed a lot. I don't necessarily mean you got a 30 in A push, but maybe you tried out for modified baseball like I did and didn't make the team like I didn't. But unlike me, you tried again. You worked hard for the year in between, and you made it next time. That failure stunted me because, like I said, failure wasn't part of my life. But now, failure is a regular part of my life. Why, you ask? First of all, because I'm a parent. As everyone back there and over there can attest to, being a parent means that my life consists of daily failures. Not failures that are singularly life-changing, but more like a series of sidesteps that continue to define my life. In their younger years, my wife and I tried so hard to guide our kids towards really good, meaningful, high-quality culture. We took them to the RPO, countless art museums, and murals. But in the summer before 4th grade, we had to hear nothing but Jake Paul, songs about cats flushing toilets, and whatever commercial jingles were on repeat on YouTube. But all these things that felt like failures now just seem insignificant and funny moments in our lives. Now we just joke about them. Thankfully, 5 years later, my son chooses to listen to jazz instead of Ohio fried chicken. Google it. Or don't, actually. And my daughter draws and paints constantly. Bigger than Jake Paul, what you need to realize is that you may feel like a failure, but it's all a process. You have to just be conscious of it and learn from it. Remember, folks, you're probably going to fail, but you have to trust the process. Although my family didn't encourage me to fail, they did allow me to follow my heart, even though it didn't align with the path that they hoped I would follow. My great-great-uncle Alva started Rochester Lumber Company in 1909, and every male in my direct lineage made their career there. It defined our family life. If you know me, you know that I am very much not a businessman. What I am leads me to the second reason that I fail continually in my life. I am an artist. I was a drawing and wood sculpture major in college. For artists, this is an unusual combination, but there are some magical parallels. First of all, remember how I grew up in a lumber company? Well, my main tools in the career path I chose both revolve around those boards I hauled around every summer of high school. But more deeply, these two artistic processes are diametrically opposed. Drawing with a pencil is extremely forgiving. All pencils come with what on the end? An eraser. They are the magical undo button of analog life. Why are you laughing? The eraser allows you to go headfirst into a work of art or writing without the overarching fear of failure. All my artists out there know that whatever wall you run into can be pretty easily overcome with that tool. It makes you feel a bit invincible, but it certainly doesn't keep you from feeling like a failure when you have to use it. I just finished a drawing of my son alongside my Drawing 2 class. And when I was finished with his face, I realized that I had drawn his left eye in the wrong place. I showed it to a lot of people, and they all shrugged it off and said, "It looks fine, it's great." But I couldn't shake the knowledge that I had done it wrong, and I needed to fix it. So I got my trusty eraser and got rid of it. I trusted that I would be able to overcome my failure with another shot at it. It was pretty nerve-wracking to erase it, but I did it. My life as an artist has been a series of these moments. The artistic process pretty much always goes the same way. Number one, excitement. This piece is amazing. I can't wait to see how it comes out. Step two, doubt. I no longer feel like I know what I'm doing. What do I do now? Step three, feelings of failure. I suck at art. Why do I do this still? Exactly. Thank you. 4, resilience. Okay, maybe this won't be terrible after all. We'll see. And last, number 5, success. I made it. I'm so proud. Check this out, everybody. So the eraser, or sometimes layers of paint, allow me to make it through this process with confidence and end successfully. But let me tell you about wood sculpture. You start out with a tree trunk or some boards. You make your first moves with a chainsaw. Look at that 19-year-old. Then you continue with these really sharp knives called chisels. Those tools can only subtract material. Once you chisel it off, it's not coming back. You have to have one of two mindsets with wood sculpture. Either you live in continual worry about making a mistake, or you go in with the knowledge that you will make a mistake, and that is ultimately what's going to take you where you need to be. I call this failing forward now. I didn't quite get that when I was in college, but I wish I had. I'm sure it was wisdom that was imparted upon me, but I certainly wasn't ready to hear it. I made many mistakes in my sculptures, and it led to continual frustration. I got stuck on stage 3 of the process. Remember, failure, I suck at art, why do I do this? Had I absorbed this message about failure and trusting the process more fully, I would have been able to fast forward through at least the first 10 years of my art-making career, trying to control my art rather than letting go and letting the mistakes guide me. As an artist, I had these 2 tools. In your own lives, I hope that you come to figure out what are your erasers and what are your chisels. There will be moments where you can go back and fix your mistakes. And there will certainly be times where you just need to press on, moving through a failure and carving a new way forward. Be open to those surprising moments of enlightenment. Remember, my friends, you are probably going to fail, but you have to trust the process. Thank you.